Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm Pali Bhatt, VP of Product and Design at Google Cloud. I'm super thrilled to welcome all of you to the App Development Online Conference today. I want to talk about how we can turbocharge business impact by building, shipping, and operating better code faster. CIOs and CEOs I've talked to see developers as the engine of business growth. In fact, in a recent study shared on CNBC, leaders at top companies cited lack of access to developers as a bigger constraint to business success than even access to capital. And if developers were such a big constraint, one huge area of opportunity is increasing the productivity of our engineering teams. In fact, we collectively have a huge opportunity if we can move faster. It's $300 billion a year. Unfortunately, developers are wasting significant amounts of time on maintaining legacy applications or having to deal with poor code. So how do we capture this opportunity? The answer lies in modernization. The VP of Cloud Infrastructure and Architecture of a large bank who moved to Google Cloud told us that by modernizing, they can now do 4 to 5 major launches with clear business value in just 8 weeks, versus previously taking 3 to 4 months. Modernization certainly sounds like a nirvana that we would all benefit from. So let's take a look at the approaches that teams are taking today to modernize their legacy applications. While legacy on-premise approaches offer flexibility, they required you to manage the infrastructure yourself, including security and compliance, which was both cumbersome and error-prone. It also came with underused servers and consequently a higher cost of ownership. The first wave of improvements came with VMs, which abstracted away the management of physical servers and increased utilization, but still require you to configure, provision, monitor, and manage your infrastructure. Unfortunately, this is still too much toil for development teams. The good news is that the last few years have seen a rise in the new wave of modern app development paradigms with containers and serverless. Containers gave us the ability to adopt cloud-like benefits such as scalability and velocity with the flexibility of running workloads either on-premise or in the cloud. With Kubernetes, we've now also got portability, which lets us move workloads seamlessly between these environments. Of course, the move to Kubernetes means that teams need to ramp up on this new containerized approach, and it still requires you to manage the infrastructure. We've also got serverless, which offers even more velocity by completely offloading all of the infrastructure management to the cloud provider. Now, there's sometimes constraints in the way you code, think runtimes, libraries, which consequently has some impact on portability as well. Let's double-click on serverless. You're all familiar with the operational model of serverless. It's pay for what you use, and of course, no server management. But what's really interesting about serverless is the programming model. It's serviceful and it's event-based, which means you get to consume fully managed services without ever having to deal with setup, maintaining the infrastructure, load balancing, sharding, and all of the other things that come with it. Now, what most of you think about serverless is as simple as G-Cloud functions deploy, and you've got your function up and running in the cloud. But let's look a little bit deeper at what's happening behind the scenes. First, serverless is much more than just compute. Many of the web apps that all of you are building require you to leverage other resources and services, such as storage and messaging. With Google Cloud's full-stack serverless platform, you can get everything from compute to ML and AI. Let's look at serverless compute. Cloud Functions enables you to create and deploy bespoke functions for focused tasks using Cloud Functions. It also enables you to write event-driven code that helps you quickly stitch together cloud services to create your app. Serverless compute also enables you to build large-scale applications that serve hundreds of millions of users. But that's just compute. Google Cloud's serverless portfolio also includes products such as BigQuery for data warehousing, PubSub for messaging, and the ML engine for AI and ML, Cloud Firestore for databases, and we've got many others in the pipeline. Our customers are using the serverless platform every day to build great apps, and one of my personal favorites is the New York Times. The New York Times team used to run crosswords on a legacy LAMP architecture that made it challenging to move fast while scaling to serve peak loads. Think lots of users trying to solve their latest crossword puzzle. They transitioned their architecture to GCP serverless, and now they can scale to serve over 300,000 paid subscribers and many, many more free users. And they're able to move much, much faster with their releases and updates. And they've accomplished all of this while reducing their infrastructure costs in half. Customers such as the New York Times use Google Cloud's serverless platform, especially because of the velocity their development teams get. But our customers also tell us that they want the flexibility and portability of containers. So we've created serverless containers. You can now get a fully managed experience that you expect with serverless, with the ability to bring your own workload, like containers. This enables you to write code your way. You can use your favorite language, using your frameworks and custom libraries. And of course, you still get to keep all of the eventing, auto-scaling, and pay-for-use benefits that you want. And best of all, you still get to have the portability that you have with Kubernetes. So you can run your workloads where you choose, on Google Cloud, on-premise, or in a third-party data center. And we did this by creating something we call Knative, which we launched about 6 months ago. Knative is built on Kubernetes and Istio, and we're seeing the same rapid adoption and customer demand that we saw when we launched Kubernetes 4 years ago. Knative gives you workload portability across both on-premise and in the cloud, and it comes with a full set of primitives that enable you to build, deploy, and manage modern serverless workloads. So let's take a deeper look at some of the key primitives that come with Knative. First, we'll look at the build primitive. Containers are the lingua franca of Knative. So you can use the build custom resource type to say, hey, just build me a container from all my sources. And that source can be in your favorite Git repository, whether it's GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, you choose. And the system will then take care of orchestrating that build, whether it's on the cluster or in the cloud with Google Cloud Build. Next, let's look at the serving primitive. If you're developing an app, you just want your code to run. You don't care about all the details. The Knative serving repository has a standard set of APIs that provide higher-order abstractions that help run the system for you. These abstractions help you by defining principled objects, such as the configuration, revision, route, and service that lets you focus on building clean 12-factor style apps. So you no longer have to waste your time figuring out how to auto-scale them or smoothly route traffic between them during upgrades. Think of this as a developer-friendly control plane that takes care of all of your serving, scaling, and routing needs. And it'll do it to containers. Finally, we've got the event primitive that enables you to bind event providers to your workloads running on Knative. You can provide your users with rich functionality by easily connecting your apps to the event ecosystem. Overall, what you get with Knative is something that's idiomatic and extensible. It features both loose coupling at higher level primitives, in the higher level primitive layer, like build creates containers, serving runs containers, events send traffic to containers that are being served. But it's also pluggable on the lower levels. Example of that is replacing one type of a logging system for another, and you can do it seamlessly with Knative. We've designed Knative this way so you could take the parts you want, when you want, and when you need them. And Knative is organic, so you can codify the commonalities and build on a stable platform. We partnered with IBM, Pivotal, Red Hat, SAP, and other industry leaders, so you can take advantage of this collection of building blocks that provide the middleware that every business needs to power their Kubernetes-based workloads. Let's look at a great real-world example of Knative and serverless in action. I want to invite Brendan, who's the Director of Platform Architecture at T-Mobile, to tell us more. Welcome, Brendan.
Hello, my name is Brendan A. I'm Director of Platform Architecture at T-Mobile. I'm part of a team there that manages Kubernetes as well as Cloud Foundry for our enterprise. Bit of history on where we've been. 3 years ago, it took us on average 7 months and 72 steps to get new code to production. These applications were tightly coupled monoliths, many of which had to be deployed at the same time over the course of one Red Bull-fueled weekend. So during this time, configuration drift was a huge problem in our environment and was one of the biggest causes of failures during deployments. And of course, since these were tightly coupled applications, deployments must succeed. So there was a lot of shooting from the hip, which caused even further drifted configuration. So to combat this problem, we deployed Platform as a Service using Cloud Foundry and started refactoring our largest stateless applications to run on the platform. Within just 1 year, we had taken one of our biggest and most critical applications and refactored it into a number of containerized microservices, taking over 160 million calls per day. So now we're able to deploy same day, which has drastically increased the number of deployments. And since we have parity between dev, test, and prod, our change failure rate has decreased by over 90%, and mean time to resolution has had a similar improvement. Due to this success, it's brought about an executive mandate to package applications in containers. And after our success with PaaS, we wanted to go down this route more. However, as we started to onboard customers to Kubernetes, we saw new problems that customers struggled to adapt to the increased level of control. The ramp-up time just wasn't as fast as we saw on PaaS. We see Knative as a powerful tool to bridge the gap between developer control and speed of delivery, allowing them to only care about what matters to them. So Google first approached T-Mobile about 6 or 8 months ago, shortly after Knative launched, and asked if we'd be interested in trying it out and sharing our feedback. So we'll go through an example of what that looks like in just a minute, but for now at a high level, here's what we love about Knative. So first and foremost, Knative enables serverless containers to efficiently support dynamic scaling during periods of peak traffic. We have large product launch events every single year for flagship Apple and Android devices, and on average we see 3 to 5x normal traffic patterns compared to our normal daily peaks. So remember those 7 months and 72 steps for deployment? Those are mostly the same steps required when scaling applications up to handle this load. When it takes you 7 months to scale up an app, you never scale it back down. Means these resources run 24/7, and we're never able to recover them. With serverless, there's no need to run these 24/7 to support peak traffic. We're able to scale up as needed based on different factors, and they automatically scale back down to 0 or close to 0 when it's not being used anymore. And this matters on-premise, but it also matters especially in public cloud. Public cloud resources cost real money, and we have a presence in all 3 major cloud providers. So secondly, Knative offers common abstractions for applications, which provide a foundation for enterprise software delivery. We have a rather large data center presence, as I mentioned, as well as all 3 cloud providers. We have services running there. So instead of learning API calls for GCP and Azure and AWS, as well as our on-premise IaaS systems, we're now just able to have our developers learn Knative and Kubernetes as the abstractions that they can learn and build on, and take those portable workloads to any of these providers using the same exact manifests and YAMLs. So in addition, building apps and containers is a problem that every business is solving, so why would we do that ourselves? We'd much rather see partners like Pivotal building on top of Knative instead of trying to compete against it directly. Finally, it allows developers to focus on delivering value, which increases their velocity and shortens the feedback loop. In most organizations, it just doesn't make sense for developers to deploy and run their own Kubernetes. So for us as a platform team, we provide the Kubernetes dial tone and layer enterprise features on top. And now we can add in things like Knative and give people common build templates so developers can focus on business logic and rapidly propagate changes through their environments instead of focusing on how they're going to configure their runtime or how they're going to operate their cluster. So as far as a real-world example, we'll talk about Store Locator. Store Locator is a pretty straightforward service. It allows our internal as well as external customers to look up stores really from their handset, from their from the website, wherever they may be, as well as possibly supporting integration to Google Maps, Uber, Lyft, things like that. So formerly it was a monolith, which we had a hard time scaling easily. There's 2 primary functions. First, there's an indexer function. This takes store location data from a variety of sources. We have Metro PCS, we have partner locations, and we all have our own branded retail T-Mobile stores. And it pushes that into Elasticsearch. And of course, there's a query function that allows our employees and customers to locate a store wherever they may be. So since it was formerly that monolith, it's now been rebuilt into microservices running in containers on Kubernetes. So first, talking about the Knative build piece. Commits to source control automatically initiate Knative builds, which runs through a static code analysis build step before finally building the container and pushing it to registry. That's how the actual service gets deployed to Kubernetes. Secondly, we have a data loader service that sits outside of this store locator function. This receives data from Metro PCS, from T-Mobile retail stores, from all of our partners, and pushes it up to Google PubSub. From here, it triggers Knative eventing, which then pushes the data down to the indexer function from store locator and on into Elasticsearch. Finally, Knative serving handles customer traffic itself. It's fronted by Apogee, which then goes to the query service. It's a great use case for serverless for us due to the unknown and highly flexible traffic patterns. With Knative and Kubernetes, the store locator app practically runs itself. And developers can focus on bug fixes and feature enhancements instead of building containers and scaling their services. We're already seeing the potential Knative has to offer and are excited to see features like Knative build pipelines bring CI/CD directly to Kubernetes. So thank you, Polly, for inviting us to share our success with Knative. We look forward to continuing our partnership on serverless in the coming years.
Thank you, Brandon. It's always great to see how our customers are using serverless, Knative, and Kubernetes to modernize their application infrastructures. So how do you get the same great velocity across all of your environments? Whether it's containers running on Kubernetes, VMs, or if you're running serverless like T-Mobile is. And wouldn't it be nice if it worked with your existing tool chain? Everything from going from your source all the way to deploying, running, and monitoring your applications. The great news is you can. Just as Agile helped bridge the gap between business and development teams, DevOps can help you boost velocity and operate at scale. I personally think of DevOps along 3 dimensions. The first is how development teams can move faster with CI/CD. We've created Cloud Build, which is a fully managed CI/CD platform in the cloud that helps you build, test, and deploy your apps quickly and securely. With Cloud Build, our goal was simple. As a developer, you should be able to focus on just writing code while the rest of the underlying pipeline just works. This includes packaging up your source code, automating all of your integration and unit tests, scanning artifacts, or even performing incremental rollout to ensure that bad changes don't impact a large percentage of your user base. So let's look at how Cloud Build can help you as you go from code through to deploy. Cloud Build gives you the flexibility to select the tools you want to use as you accelerate your code, build, test, and deploy cycle using CI/CD. For instance, Cloud Build gives you the option to choose your source control tools that you love. It integrates with solutions like GitHub, Bitbucket, or you can use the Cloud Source Repository, which gives you private Git repos hosted on Google Cloud. Every time there's a change committed, Cloud Build will automatically create a build for you. This build can either be container or have non-container artifacts such as Maven, Gradle, Webpack, Go, or Bazel. In fact, you can create fast, consistent, and reliable builds in any language you choose. Next, with Cloud Build, you can run unit and integration tests for automated testing. With artifact management, Cloud Build will automatically push your images to a private registry. In our case, this is the container registry. Finally, you can also use Cloud Build to rapidly deploy your build to the environment of your choice, whether it's virtual machines, Kubernetes, serverless, or Firebase. And I know that security and compliance is top of mind for many of you. The velocity that you gain through CI/CD shouldn't come at the expense of security. So we've built Cloud Build from the ground up to support security. All of the container images built using Cloud Build are automatically scanned for operating system package vulnerabilities as soon as the images are pushed to container registry. With vulnerability scanning, you can now shift left on your security efforts by baking in security from the get-go. Developers get key details like severity, CVSS score, packages, and whether a fix is available right then and there. Package vulnerabilities for Ubuntu, Debian, and Alpine can be identified right in the app development process. Support for CentOS and RHEL on the way. Vulnerability scanning also continuously monitors the security databases from the supported OS distributions. This is huge since it reduces the time to remediate known vulnerabilities. As part of security and compliance, you should be able to automatically block deployment of vulnerable images based on the policies set by your DevSecOps team. And this is where the integration of vulnerability scanning with binary authorization, which is a deploy time security control, comes in handy. This integration lets you lock down production environments or gate deployments based on vulnerability scanning findings during a CI/CD process. Only trusted container images without any manual intervention get deployed to environments like Google Kubernetes Engine. CI/CD was the first of 3 dimensions I mentioned for DevOps. The second DevOps dimension is operations. With Stackdriver, operators have a way to manage their services, containers, applications, and their infrastructure. Using Stackdriver, you can monitor your application and your infrastructure and get stats, dashboards, and uptime checks. You also have sophisticated logging capabilities with log ingestion, analysis, and error reporting. Finally, Stackdriver's application performance monitoring suite lets you do profiling along with tracing on applications running anywhere. Profiler recently launched into beta on Google Cloud Platform. Many of our alpha participants have reported saving up to 10% of their compute bill with less than 1 hour of work. In fact, Snapchat was able to achieve significant scalability optimizations by using our Stackdriver profiler. This was so awesome to see. And with Google Cloud-led projects like OpenCensus, we're making it incredibly easy to extract telemetry from your production applications, no matter what tools you want to use, whether it's Cloud Build or another tool of your choice. One of the great examples of operating securely at scale is Shopify. Shopify uses Cloud Build to ship over 6,000 builds every single day. They've leveraged the parallelization and caching capabilities of Cloud Build to speed up container builds for faster development feedback. Now your developers can know as soon as the system learns of something new. Shopify now has a registry of over 330,000 container images, and they're able to automatically store both vulnerability and build information about every single container image so they can strictly enforce a built by Shopify policy. Great CI/CD and operations at scale are critical for DevOps. But the third dimension of DevOps is the humans, all of you. At Google Cloud, we're here to help. We've published the SRE book, which is the Site Reliability Engineering book, to share the philosophies and principles of how we do production engineering at Google. This is the same team that manages over 8 billion user plus services at Google. This is everything from Google Search to Maps to YouTube, Gmail. All of our popular services are run and deployed by this team. We've also published the Site Reliability Workbook to demonstrate how SRE can and is working outside of Google. Additionally, we've created the Customer Reliability Engineering team so we can work hand in hand with engineers and product owners in your teams to put all of these practices in place. And finally, with the recent alpha launch of Stackdriver IRM, we're going further. We're making all of the tooling that we depend on inside Google available to all of you. IRM provides site reliability, incident response processes, and best practices that we learned over the years at Google for efficient coordination and collaboration. IRM uniquely highlights key monitoring information based on context and the environment of the incident to help you diagnose issues quickly and easily.
Pally.
Miles, what are you doing here?
Well, I got it. It's all done, and I just want to show you
Hey,
this thing.
I'm in the middle of a big presentation here. There's lots of folks watching.
Yeah. It's just going to take like 2-3 minutes. 2-3 minutes. You guys are cool. You'll like this. Hold on a second.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go. Okay.
I guess.
Hey, folks. Hey, everybody. Sorry for the interruption. So sorry. We will return you to regularly scheduled programming, but I have something pretty exciting to announce. But first, team, can you introduce yourselves?
Hi there, my name is Priyanka Vergaria and I'm a customer engineer here at Google.
Hello, Jonathan Sham here, Google Cloud Customer Engineering Manager.
Hi, I'm Jenny Brown, a developer advocate with Google Cloud.
And I'm Miles Ward. I'm Global Head of Solutions for Google Cloud. We've been building something that I'm pretty excited about. I really can't wait to share it with you. It's a journey to Google Cloud. It's kind of a hero's quest. Has anybody heard of Google's Cloud Hero?
If you don't know, Cloud Hero is a cloud and infrastructure game we host all around the world from Mexico City to Tokyo. We've already had 12 events and we've found many Cloud Heroes already. So what is this game? In this game, you'll be deploying and building cloud services on Google Cloud. You might need to set up a GKE cluster, you might need to set up a source repo, you might even deploy a CI/CD pipeline. In 2018, we've already had many communities across the world, from Tel Aviv to Bogota to San Francisco to Seattle, already engaging with each other, learning, and most importantly, having lots of fun.
I don't mean to brag, but these events are rad. They're a great way to boost your career too, by networking and connecting with great devs from all over. Cloud Hero is a journey that you take together, and that's why we're focused on bringing it to the next level.
And that's why the four of us are here today, interrupting this fine presentation. It's to announce the Cloud Hero Online Challenge. It's a digital space that we've built to allow you to not only challenge your skills and explore Google Cloud, but connect with a community all while playing a game.
Cloud Hero is not a competition. It's a community where developers come together to learn and grow and share their knowledge with each other in a friendly environment. Absolutely anyone can come in, participate in Cloud Hero, and become a Cloud Hero.
Nailed it. Remember, we'll be with you helping all along the way.
Yes, of course. And Cloud Hero is not just a community where developers connect with each other. It's also a place where you can connect with us at Google Cloud.
Think of us as mentors for your journey on Cloud Hero.
Mentor seems a little intense. Just know that we're here for you whenever you need us.
Okay, you can count on us.
The mentors.
Right. Remember, you've really only got 90 minutes once you start the game, so you've got to prepare.
90 minutes? I think we should give them a little bit more time.
You know, we would have thought so, but it turns out, for the games that we've played, 90 minutes has been plenty. One, Google Cloud is pretty easy. Two, our developer community is brilliant. So it's just a matter of you making sure you put in the time to prepare, study up, and get ready for the game.
If you've ever dreamed of becoming a hero, this is your one shot.
Do not miss your chance to blow.
This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
And there's no need to be nervous. We're in this together. Mom spaghetti.
Well, I believe that's it, my future cloud heroes. You can pre-register at the App Dev Conference website. That'll give you news and updates as we get closer to launch. Anybody have the URL for that?
Got it. It's the same site you used to access and register for this conference. Lucky for you, we created this soft launch so you can pre-register and be the first to play this game.
Pre-registration is available now, so sign up today. This is going to be great. Jenny, Priyanka, Jonathan, thank you so much.
Sure thing, Miles. Thank you, everybody.
Of course, anytime, Miles.
Thanks, Miles. See you soon, Cloud Heroes.
This is going to be great. Thanks.
Wow, that was awesome, Miles.
Pretty good.
Super work by you and the team.
Thank you.
Is that already available?
We are doing everything we can to make it ready for everybody to play. It's really going to be an exciting ride.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you, Miles.
Oh, no.
That's cool. So, our research with Dora, which has done assessments and research on many development teams, points out that elite DevOps teams are able to achieve much faster speed and stability. They deploy code 46 times more frequently than low-performing peers. And simultaneously, their production deployments are 7 times less likely to result in a degraded service. Think about that. Faster releases with stability. Who doesn't love that?
I don't know.
Right? So let's take the journey together to become an elite team, or should I say a team of Cloud Heroes? So I hear from the team that we have some questions for us. Okay, before we go to the questions, right? Miles, I have a question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Can I be a Cloud Hero?
You can definitely be a Cloud Hero. The couple of times we played the alpha, some of the people who have won have never used GCP before, so everybody can do it.
Very cool.
And we're going to have you come in and learn a real hands-on experience. So it's a great way to get started with your cloud journey.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah.
Look forward to doing that.
Here's another question that came in, like, what areas do you see teams doing wrong when they adopt DevOps?
The number one mistake that I see, Miles, is forgetting about the humans. And the other thing to keep in mind is that every team is unique. So when you pick a DevOps solution, make sure it fits what your team needs.
Right. So, here's another good question. Speaking about the humans and how they're sort of these key cultural elements, what would you do to drive a DevOps adoption?
That's a great question. This is something that we thought a lot about at Google. And the first thing that we do at Google is we use data to guide decisions. So whether it's codes, traces, or logs, we use that. The second thing is having the same goals across developers and operators. Let's have collaboration between the teams and a shared fate. The third bit is always choosing transparency.
Okay.
And sharing over keeping stuff siloed.
Yeah.
Right? And the other bit is that we want everyone to adopt blameless postmortems. Right? So this helps you continuously improve and you learn from your mistakes and you don't start punishing your mistakes.
Yeah, I have seen that play out and it really works. Can you maybe tell me a little bit more about the challenges that people are experiencing as they adopt DevOps?
Yeah, it's a great question. This is one of those things where we've seen it's always a journey. It's both about making sure you have the right products, the tools that we've given you like serverless and Knative and Cloud Build and Stackdriver, etc., but also making sure you have the right processes in place. And this is the kind of things that we can help you with the SRE book and the SRE workbook. And of course, making sure that you're ensuring all the humans in your team are coming together, whether they're in development or operations, and building great solutions for your customers.
Perfect.
Right? So I did have a question for you. Speaking of what are some of the challenges there? What are some of the challenges you have available with your Cloud Hero program?
Yeah. Well, so I don't think you'd really be a hero unless you're doing real world problems, right? It's not enough to just sort of play a video game. We should do all of what we're asking our development teams to do. So you start from scratch inside of a real GCP account and you build a DevOps platform using Kubernetes. You grab source code from a repository and deploy that code, connect it to a load balancer. You do all the things that we expect real businesses are going to need to do. You just do it on the clock. So time pressure really adds an element of excitement.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What's the time pressure look like?
So we've had folks get it all the way through to done in under an hour, which is pretty incredible. When you see some companies talking about taking months and months to build their platforms, this is production grade stuff that people deploy in an hour.
This doing things under an hour almost seems like the theme that we're talking about throughout this talk.
Yeah.
I just referenced how you can use Stackdriver Profiler in under an hour and get huge improvement. Companies have seen greater than 10% reduction in their compute, right? Sounds like Cloud Hero exactly the same way.
Same kind of thing.
That's awesome. So cool.
Another question that's come in, what container tools for Kubernetes are a part of Google Cloud?
Great question. Well, first of all, when you think about Kubernetes, we've built something that we call Google Kubernetes Engine. This gives you a great platform for running your container workloads in the cloud. We've seen amazing response from our customers as they deploy GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine, and they're seeing huge benefits in terms of how to get their Kubernetes workloads, but doing it in a way that's faster and better than just trying to use a Kubernetes build off the shelf.
Right.
So great tool. So everyone out there, think about Google Kubernetes Engine as you take your journey towards containerization and Kubernetes. The next thing we talked about was all of the different tools that you have for Kubernetes, whether it's for DevOps, so things like Cloud Build. We've also got support for Spinnaker for doing all of your deployments. We've of course got Stackdriver, which we talked about for operations. and monitoring all of your applications. It's a whole suite of tools, by the way. It's not just one tool. And so we've got a great set of tools. But also think about serverless. Because when you adopt Knative, you're still building on Kubernetes and all of the containerization benefits that you get with serverless containers.
Yep.
So we've got a great set of tools for Kubernetes. Just go check out Google Cloud Platform. You'll find more information online. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. So one other question. There are so many options, lots of different products from so many different providers. Why Knative? What sets it apart?
Yeah, I think the very first thing that you want to think about for Knative is really that it offers you all of the building blocks that you need for building your serverless workloads. And the best part is it's portable and you're not choosing a product from one company.
Right.
What Knative gives you is this one standard that can be used across all of these different products from our partners. So whether it's Pivotal or IBM or Red Hat or SAP, and many others are coming on board, you'll get the standard that you can write to, just like T-Mobile, Brendan at T-Mobile talked about. So their programmers no longer need to think about figuring out different ways to build their applications, whether it's on-premise or for each of the clouds. Nothing to customize here with Knative. What you can do is let Knative be the standard and Kubernetes be the standard that you're writing your applications to. So it gives you a great abstraction layer, makes your development teams way, way more productive. So huge thing for Kubernetes and Knative. I'd say buy into it. We've already seen the same kind of adoption that we've seen with Kubernetes when we launched it 4 years ago. So we expect to see like sort of the adoption curve go the same way, and we see it, be adopted across the whole industry. Just makes developers' lives and operators' lives so much more easy. Okay. So, Miles, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Cloud Hero sounds awesome, but what are the resources I get to use?
Sure. We've really made sure that it's not only a fun game, but a place to start in learning all of GCP. So because you start in a brand new project, you get access to IAM resources, you have all of the same sort of routing controls that you use from the normal load balancer configurations, you have access to our VPC network controls, so it really gives you a good primer to how it will be like when you really use this for production work. The other kinds of resources, not just like you talk about on the technology, there are great people that come and help. So if you're in the middle of building a challenge and you're just not quite sure what to do next, the documentation is there for you to use, all of our online resources, but there are folks with capes like these to really make sure that you can get through and get done.
That's so awesome.
Always good to have a helping hand.
Yeah. No, it almost feels like, once you actually go through Cloud Hero, you can go start building your applications for your business so you can start serving users with Google Cloud every day.
That's right. That
sounds really cool. And all of this is just available online?
Yeah, that's where we're going to run. It's going to be really exciting. A competition for everybody to really see, if they're going to be the next Cloud Hero.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So let's see if we have any other questions from the audience today.
Oh, here's one. The questions come in, when would I use serverless containers, as opposed to the other options?
So the way that we think about serverless containers at Google Cloud is, hey, if you're already on the journey to modernizing your applications, this is the best way to go because it combines the benefits that you get with containers. So this is the flexibility of containers with what you get with serverless, which is greater velocity. If you want to move fast and be able to build all of your applications in a portable way, serverless containers are the way to go. And the best part is because we've got a standard that's community driven, that's Knative, that's adopted by many of the industry leaders, you can now rely on this abstraction layer for building all of your serverless workloads. And what we're seeing from our customers is more and more teams are starting to migrate from their legacy, whether it's the LAMP-based architectures that they have on premise or the virtual machine-based architectures they have, towards serverless containers. They immediately see the benefits, and so now it's a matter of figuring out how you can take the journey to modernize your applications.
I've heard from customer after customer that serverless containers makes infrastructure as a service feel like the legacy cloud, right? It's
Indeed.
really that next step forward.
Yeah.
So another good question, right? You know, lots of different products from Google developers. And I think everybody's trying to figure out what the right pieces are in different scenarios. So maybe help compare and contrast Cloud Functions to the existing systems of App Engine.
Yeah. So as many of you know and are already using App Engine for building applications that are complex and that serve hundreds of millions of users. So that's already available for you today. What Cloud Functions gives you though is the ability to write just bespoke, focused functions that you can get up and running in the cloud with just a few lines of code.
Right.
And it lets you like pull in all of the different events from whether it's Google or third-party providers, and lets you deploy that function right away in the cloud. Huge benefits. Now we see both of those as tools that you have in the arsenal, depending on what kind of application you're looking to deploy. Over time though, what we see is Knative acting as a layer where you don't have to worry about whether you're using product A or product B, even if it's a product from some other company, right? And one of our partners. And that acts as the single unifying layer, abstraction layer, and you write your applications to support Knative, use all of the capabilities it provides, whether it's on the build side, serving side, or on the eventing side. And you can think of that as a developer-friendly control plane that you use going forward.
Yeah, sort of a compatibility layer for the serverless cloud.
That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Let's see if we have any other questions. Oh, looks like we're done with all of the questions for today. So, Miles, thank you
Ollie.
for being a cloud hero.
Thank
that was
you so much.
awesome.
That was great.
So sounds like we've got all of the tools here with Cloud Hero to take the journey on to create elite developer teams across all of the companies that you're at today. So let's look at what we can do next to dive deeper. We have two tracks. The first, of course, is you can actually deep dive into how we can build and ship apps much, much faster. In this track, you learn about our full stack serverless platform in depth across compute, data, ML, and integrating both Google and third-party services. So you can run all of your serverless apps in production. We'll also have a progressive demo across these sessions to show you how you can leverage these products to build an end-to-end e-commerce app. In the second track, we'll look at how we achieve speed with reliability. We'll start this track by setting up CI/CD pipelines to deploy Kubernetes locally. Next, we'll build cloud-native CI/CD pipelines. We've touched on security a lot, so the third session will deep dive on how you can add security and compliance to your cloud-native CI/CD pipeline. And we'll end by sharing best practices on how you can get started with CI/CD. With these two tracks, you should get a really good flavor of the journey you'll need to take to modernize your applications. With that, let's all go be cloud heroes. Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Zhao. I'm from Google Cloud Account Management, and here we have.
Hi, I'm Han. I'm a customer engineer at Google Cloud, and we're coming to you live in Singapore.
Yeah, and we've heard what Miles and Pali has actually shared during the keynote. In fact, how operations and developers should work together in order to bring more meaningful business applications for the future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it lines up really well. Now that I've seen the live keynote and the title of our conference being Better Code Faster, what does it mean by better code. What do we mean by faster? So I think the keynote session summed it up really well. It's an end-to-end elaboration of what we can do. And as we dive into more details later on in the 2 separate tracks around serverless and CI/CD, you will see a lot more of those themes and going into a lot more detail. Oh, and did we mention that we're coming to you live as well? Which means that all the demos that you see in the tracks later are live, right?
So remember, guys, do keep the questions coming because our Q&A is online. And in fact, we will have our speakers to even address your questions during our live Q&A. So keep those questions coming. And please do also join our hashtag at CloudDev19. So don't forget to add us in your Twitter feed.
Yeah, and that's right. And also interestingly, in the keynote, Miles kind of barged in and made the awesome announcement around Cloud Hero. So what do you think about the Cloud Hero announcement?
I guess it's really awesome, and in fact, that it actually fosters a broader community to come together to share and leverage on whatever assets that they have in order to actually come out with a more modernized application and to better the community in terms of development and operations.
Yeah, and so if you hover your cursor over this video and on the left, you will see a Cloud Hero icon. Click on that to do your online registration now before our global launch. I find it very interesting that as part of Cloud Hero, there is a 90-minute game that you play. And then once you do that, you're connected to hundreds, actually over 100,000 people from around the world are already part of that community. You get to network, you get to learn from one another. Technology is moving at such a pace and it's so broad. There's opportunities to learn from everyone.
So this is actually just one of the many opportunities where Google actually bring all the developers and operation community together to actually share ideas and in fact communicate. So just to run through, in fact, we will be starting with our 2 tracks soon. Remember, you can either choose on serverless tools or building CI/CD pipelines. So remember, there's actually 8 tracks in total. And in fact, after that, what we'll do is that there will be actually an hands-on session that will be run by one of our cloud trainers, Kunal.
Yeah, that's right. So hang back and stay tuned for the study jam towards the end of this event. But let me quickly introduce you the first 2 speakers or first 2 sessions for this track 1 and track 2. So in track 1, we've got serverless. So Zihon, who is our solution architect, will be talking us through serverless from a functions and application perspective. And the second track, CI/CD, we will see CI/CD pipelines across the life cycle of your development into Kubernetes, and that is a very special session jointly presented by our CEs and Michael Neal, a co-founder of CloudBees.
And not forgetting, we will have Carousel, Mr. Harshad, to actually do his sharing on CI/CD track.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Let's go.